Mr. Simpson, on the plane ride to Chicago, did you make any phone calls?
No.
Did you sleep?
I may have dozed, yes.
That was a red eye, right?
Yes.
And it was dark, right?
Yes.
You were sitting in first class?
Yes.
Was there somebody right next to you?
No.
And were you on the aisle or near the window?
I probably sat in both seats.
Did you, how long did you sleep?
I tell you, I may have dozed, I'm not sure.
Did you read?
Some, yes.
And how long do you think you dozed?
I don't know.
Do you sleep on airplanes?
Sometimes.
Do you sleep on red eyes?
Sometimes.
Did you sleep more or less the same that you usually sleep on this particular flight?
No.
You slept less?
It was normally my red eyes are to New York. This was a much shorter flight.
So you slept less?
If I dozed, yes.
You slept less because it was a shorter flight, right?
I don't know.
Were you agitated at all?
No.
Upset about anything?
No.
Were you getting up to go to the bathroom?
I did.
More than
yes.
once?
Did you get up to go to the bathroom at all?
Yes.
More than once?
Yes.
How many times?
A few times.
3 or 4?
Possibly.
5 or 6?
I doubt that, but possibly.
As possibly 10?
I don't think so.
Under 10?
Yes, I'm sure under 10, yes.
Somewhere between 5 and 10.
No, I'm not saying that. I said it may have been 3 or 4, may have been 5.
How long was the flight?
I don't know.
Did you drink a lot of water?
Yes,
About how many glasses of water?
a lot.
5 or 6?
At least.
Maybe 10?
I don't think so.
Usually drink that much water?
I have to with my medication, and on airplanes, yes.
What medication were you taking that night?
Well, I was taking a whole lot of Motrin and stuff, and when I fly, when I'm on my medication, I take a lot of water. You have to, with a sulfasalidin. I don't think I was on it at that time, but when I fly, and I give this as advice often, you have to drink a lot of water if you're going to fight jet lag, and I knew I was still fighting jet lag from the previous week, so I was drinking a lot of water, yes.
And did you talk to any of the passengers on that flight?
Yes.
Who?
Howard Bingham, and briefly to Craig Baumgarten's partner, whose name I can't think of right now.
Business partner?
Yes.
He happened to be on the flight?
Yes.
Were they both in first class?
No.
They were both in coach?
No.
Where were they?
Bingham was in coach. He was in first class.
And they both came up to talk to you?
Well, he was in first class, so he didn't have to come up to talk to me.
Well,
but
what I
Bingham
meant
did.
was he seated right next to you where you could talk without getting out of a seat?
It was a small first class, and we spoke when we first got on the plane.
Did you get out of your seat at all to go speak to anybody?
Once the plane was in flight?
Yes.
I don't believe so.
What about before it was in flight?
Yes.
Who?
Bingham and this other guy.
And you went to each of their seats?
No, I just stood up in the aisle and talked.
Just chit-chat?
Yes.
Did you talk to any of the flight attendants?
Possibly.
You remember their names?
No.
Did you talk to the pilot?
Yes.
When?
At some point during the flight.
He came back to talk to you?
Yes.
And what did you and he talk about?
I don't recall. Football, maybe.
How long?
I don't know.
Did you give any autographs on the airplane?
Yes.
To whom?
To the pilot for sure, and maybe to 1 or 2 other people. I'm not sure.
That came up to you in the cabin?
Possibly, yes.
Were you sweaty?
I don't believe so.
Have others said you were sweaty?
I don't know.
Were you agitated?
No.
Were you edgy or jumpy from the medication?
No.
When had you started taking that medication that makes you drink a lot of water?
Originally? As I
That
told
day.
you, I don't think I was taking it that day. I think I said that on the record here. I don't think I was taking it during that period of time, but I've been taking it for 2 or 3 years previous to this.
But so you were drinking a lot of water because you were flying?
Yes. And I drink a lot of water anyway. but because I was flying, I drink even more.
Is that one of the reasons you went to the bathrooms several times?
I would imagine
He's not
so.
a doctor, but I think that's...
Fair assumption?
Yes.
We've been going an hour and a half. Should we
Yeah.
take a break now?
Okay.
You're going off the record now, and the time is approximately 2:40 in the morning.
Mr. Simpson, in April, you went down to shoot a movie called Frogman,
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
And you played a character called Bullfrog, right?
Correct.
A Navy SEAL character, right?
Yes.
You received some training to perform your part in that movie, correct?
Incorrect.
No training at all.
None.
Was there a person who worked with you to show you some of the moves,
I don't know what you mean by the move.
some of the physical actions that you would have to take as the character Bullfrog?
On the set, there was a stunt coordinator. Yes.
And that stunt coordinator gave you some training on how to perform some of the actions that you had to take in the role as Bullfrog, correct?
No.
What did that stunt coordinator have to do with you?
We would show us if a punch had to be shown from the camera, where to punch so that it would look like a hit in the camera, stuff like that.
There were scenes in that movie when you would wield a knife, correct?
No, there's one scene.
Where you wielded a serrated dive knife, correct?
Correct.
Did anybody show you, in connection with that particular scene, how to perform the physical actions?
How they wanted it to be done, yes.
And who did so?
The director.
Did anyone else?
No.
Did you receive any advice or training, whether on the set, off the set, from anybody in connection with your movements and actions in the role of Bullfrog?
No.
Have you heard anyone say in court that you did so?
No.
Have you ever spoken to a former military person or current military person about some of these actions with knives, knife scenes or anything like that? How to hold a knife, wield a knife?
No.
Never in your life?
Never.
Never had any kind of informal training on that at all?
None.
I'd like to mark as the next exhibit in order, Exhibit 75. Excerpts from the script of Frogman. That was the name of the project?
Yes.
These were obtained from, again, the LAPD SID inspection that we had a while ago. Did the movie ever get released, by the way?
No, I don't believe so.
You know why not?
No.
Do you have a working copy of the film?
No.
Have you ever seen it?
No.
You ever see the dailies on this?
Some days, yes.
You ever see any rough cut of the movie?
No.
Now, I'd like to refer you to pages 16 and 17, where it describes a scene where you enter the interior of a dive shop at night. Do you see that?
Yes.
And you're Bullfrog, right?
Yes.
See, near the bottom of the first page, it says, Bullfrog has entered the dive shop. Quote, without a sound, Bullfrog has entered the dive
where is
shop.
this at? What, is it the last page or second to last page?
Second to last page.
Okay.
Without a sound, Bullfrog has entered the dive shop, doesn't turn on the lights, doesn't have to. Do you see that?
Yes.
Next line, Bullfrog comes up with a lethal serrated dive knife.
Yes.
And then Bullfrog cases the area, all clear.
Yes.
Looking toward the back of the shop, through the maze of counters and gear, he sees a shadow.
Yes.
Bullfrog's SEAL, capital letters SEAL, career. Bullfrog steals past, silent. Bullfrog's made a circle. He's behind the shadow. He lunges, and in one swift move has the intruder on the floor, one arm twisted back in a punishing hold. Do you see that?
Yes.
That character was a woman that you apprehended, correct?
Correct. No, that this is talking about. Yes.
Correct, in this script, right?
Yes.
And the knife that you were holding, was that a real knife?
They may have given me a rubber knife when I grabbed her.
But before they may have given you a rubber knife, you had a real knife?
Yes.
In what hand were you holding that knife during this particular scene that I described
I
from the
believe the
script?
left hand.
Left hand?
Yes.
Are you positive about that?
Yes. I believe. I'm not totally positive, but the camera was on this side. So
Motioning to your left now, right?
yeah, I believe the camera was on this side, so I think that's how we shot it.
And it was dark during this scene, right?
Well, yeah, the camera shot it dark, but you have to light it to where it's not dark, otherwise you wouldn't see it.
But it's supposed to depict a nighttime scene, right?
The key word is supposed to depict. Yes.
It's a night scene, right?
We're indoors, but it's supposed to be a night scene,
Okay.
yes.
Now, what were you wearing, Mr. Simpson, during this scene in Frogman?
Whatever wardrobe they gave me.
What was it?
I don't recall.
Dark outfit, right?
I'm not sure of that.
Gloves on, right?
No,
No gloves?
no.
Did you have anything on your head?
I don't believe so, no.
And what kind of dark outfit did you have on?
I told you I don't believe it. I don't know if it was a dark outfit or not.
Can't remember the color?
I thought it was a light blue sweater, but I could be wrong there. But, you know, this guy had just finished eating dinner somewhere, so I don't recall it being a dark outfit at all, no.
Now, who taught you how to hold the knife in the manner that you did?
I don't know if somebody taught me. I think the director wanted me to hold it up.
And who taught you how to make the move and by which you apprehended the shadowy figure?
The director said, come up and grab her and pull her this way.
And is that what you did?
Yes. Not the way it's written here, but that's what I did.
Did you ever see the footage of this scene?
No.
Who was the director?
This is embarrassing. Michael. You know, I apologize. I can't think of his name.
And do you know whether this script was based in generous part on a book,
No.
a Tom Clancy book?
No.
Did you ever read the book Without Remorse?
No.
This is a good question or not.
If, in portraying the character of Bullfrog and in performing this particular scene,
Well,
you-
first, let's clear one thing up. Just because it read this way doesn't mean this is the way the scene was shot, and it wasn't shot the way it reads.
how was
He
it
didn't
shot?
ask you about
Okay.
that.
All right.
How was it shot?
In pieces.
This is OJ being OJ.
It was shot in pieces. What does that mean?
That means it wasn't shot like this. All his arms behind the back and that stuff never happened.
What happened?
I just grabbed her and pulled her out of what they call a camera. Grabbed her from behind and pulled her out of the camera scene.
What part never happened?
All this pulled down on the ground and pulling hands behind the back.
Well, did someone else perform those movements?
No, it just wasn't shot that way. The director took his license and shot it his way.
He changed the movements when he decided to shoot the scene?
Yes.
But you still came up, you still entered the dive shop at night, correct?
Yes.
And you didn't turn on the lights, right?
It wasn't a dive shot, so there was no lights to turn on. It wasn't.
Well, it was supposed to
depicted
be a
dive
dark
scene.
scene, correct?
Yeah.
This isn't. no,
And
come on.
you still held a lethal serrated dive knife, correct?
Yes.
Okay. How long was that knife?
I don't know.
More than 6 inches?
And he talking
don't know.
about
The
tire
blade.
knife or the blade?
Blade.
I don't know.
About 6 inches?
Could have been, but I don't know.
And what did you do with that knife?
It was theirs. It was the people that, do the movie.
Did you keep it as a souvenir?
No.
Are you sure?
Yes.
What about the clothing? Did you keep any of the clothing as a souvenir?
I don't believe so, no.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Have you ever met a Navy SEAL
Yes.
within a year before June 12, 1994?
Say that again?
Within 1 year before June 12, 1994, did you
Yes.
ever have any contact with a Navy SEAL?
Yes.
Who?
One guy was the guy that worked on the set, and one guy's wife worked at the hotel in Cabo that I was at.
And the guy that worked on the set, who was a Navy SEAL, what was his job?
I guess he was I believe he co-wrote the script, and he was there as a technical advisor.
And what is the name of that person?
I don't know. I don't recall, I'm sorry.
When is the last time you spoke to that Navy SEAL?
Sometime, I believe, during the movie. I don't think I talked to him since then. I may have, but I don't recall.
Did you ever have any discussions with the Navy SEAL about the script
I'm sure I did, yes.
as the movie was being shot,
I'm sure I did.
including the scene we just mentioned?
I don't think we ever specifically talked about that scene, no.
But he was there at the time, right?
Yes,
And that scriptwriter, who was a Navy SEAL, was there at the time you shot the scene that I just described, right?
I believe so. I
Okay.
don't recall, but I believe he was.
Thank you. The purpose of working, excuse me.
Dan, he wants to stop at 432. John does. I have no objection. We're going to
Yes,
do it
sir.
again sometime.
I gotta make some decisions here, so if we can just go to 4:30, I'd appreciate it.
That's more than acceptable, Mr. Kelly.
When you being so nice,
It's Friday. I'm not going to be in a deposition tomorrow. Was the purpose of having of working with the Navy SEAL so that the actions that you would be performing would look more authentic?
I don't know. I didn't make that decision.
Is that your understanding?
I don't know. You have to ask the people who made the movie.
But you were attempting to portray the scene in an authentic manner, correct?
Yeah, I don't know what authentic is, but in relations to this, I was doing what the director told me to do.
Well, an actor is supposed to try to convince the viewers that he's doing the real thing, right?
I was doing what the director told me action-wise.
Were you trying to act to the best of your ability?
That's it.
Yes.
Okay, well, it would have been simpler if you just answered it simply. Okay, let me depart Frogman and go to another subject. If that's all right with you, Mr. Baker.
It is getting slap happy here. And now you ask my permission.
I'm going to mark as the next exhibit in order is Exhibit 76. While we're waiting for the original pictures, let me ask you a question about the Chicago Hotel. Did you take with you any plastic bags or laundry bags?
No.
Did you use any of them?
No.
Did you see any of them?
No.
Do you have any explanation why bags were missing from that hotel?
Well, don't answer that. You don't have to have explanations.
Dry cleaning bags. Does that
You don't
make a
have-
difference? Did you use any dry cleaning bags?
No.
Okay. Exhibit 76 and 77 are pictures. And can you identify what is depicted in those photographs?
A portion of my bedroom.
And what about the other picture?
Some socks and a rug.
Are those your socks?
I don't know.
Do you have socks like that?
I have black socks, yes.
That look like those socks?
I don't know. I can't really see what these socks look like.
Well, you saw a lot of these socks in court, right?
No.
When you were in court, there was a lot of testimony about these socks, right?
Testimony, yes.
And video footage as well, right?
No.
Are those your socks?
I don't know.
On June 12, 1994, did you have socks like those?
I had black socks, but I can't tell how these socks are because they're balled up.
What kind of socks? Do you have a brand name? That you,
No.
do you buy your own socks? Did you at the time, June of 1994?
Yes.
What brand socks did you buy?
I don't know.
Did you have any particular brands that you bought?
No.
Would you be aware of the brand names of the socks that you owned in June of 1994?
No.
Did you leave those socks on the floor when you left the room on June 12?
No.
Are you sure?
Yes.
How do you know?
Because I never leave my socks on the floor in my
Are you
bedroom.
neat? By habit?
By habit, yes.
If you're in a hurry, though, you might leave your socks on the floor, right?
Not in my bedroom, no.
You didn't hang everything up in your bathroom
That's a little different.
and the towels.
That's a little different.
How's that different?
It's a bathroom.
You never have left anything on your bedroom floor when you left
Anything?
the room?
Anything?
Clothing?
No.
A belt?
No.
Socks?
No.
Never.
No. That I know of.
Did you wear black socks on June 12, 1994?
I believe so.
Excuse me. You believe so, correct?
Yes.
You wore them to the recital, right?
I believe so.
Did you wear any other black socks that day?
No.
One pair.
Yes.
Do those look like the pair?
I can't see what these look like.
Could they be the pair?
I don't think so.
Why not?
Because I didn't leave black socks here.
Apart from the fact that they're on the floor there, do they generally look like the black socks that you wore?
I can't tell because I can't see what these look like.
Have you ever found the pair of black socks that you wore on June 12th?
It assumes they're missing.
Withdrawn. Where are the pair of black socks that you wore on June 12th?
I assume in my home.
Have you looked for them?
I've worn black socks since I've been home, yes.
Do you know if they were the exact pair that you took off that evening?
No.
When you came home on the 13th, did you see those black socks that you had taken off the night before?
I didn't look for them, no.
When you took the black socks off the night before, or the day before, or whenever you did, where did you put them?
Either in my shoes or back in the sock drawer.
In what shoes?
The shoes I was wearing.
Because you might wear the socks again?
Yes.
When you came back to your house on the 13th, did you look in those shoes?
No.
Were the shoes there?
I assume so.
Were the socks in the shoes?
If that's where I left them, I would assume so.
But you don't know.
No.
You took off your socks when you took off the clothes you wore to the recital,
Yes.
and that's when you put on the golf clothing.
Yes.
And you said you hung up the other clothing, and the pants and the shirt, correct?
Yes.
But you don't have a clear recollection whether you put the socks in the hamper or in the shoes. Is that
No,
correct?
in the
never said
shoes
the
or in my drawer.
The drawer. I'm
Yes.
sorry. Why didn't you put them in the hamper?
Because I didn't feel they were dirty.
How long had you worn those socks?
Whatever time it took me to get to the recital and back.
Do you sweat?
Yes.
Do you sweat in your feet?
I'm sure sometimes.
You had worn the socks for 2 to 3 hours, right?
Yes.
You were going to wear them again without washing them?
Yes.
Who does your laundry?
My housekeeper.
Did you have a hamper?
Yes.
Where was it located?
My bathroom.
Did you put anything into that hamper on June 12th?
I'm sure I did.
You took a shower in the morning, right? When you went to go to play
Yes,
golf.
I believe so.
Did you put any of your towels in the hamper that day?
I don't know.
Can you, to the best of your memory, Mr. Simpson, describe to me the socks that you wore to the recital on June 12th?
They were black. That's all I can recall.
What kind of material were the socks made of?
I don't know.
Were they thick socks or thin socks, stretch socks? Can you describe them?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't recall.
What kind of shoes you wore? Black loafers, right?
Yes.
What kind of socks do you usually wear with those black loafers?
Not real thick, but other than that, if they're black, black socks.
Black socks, not thick, correct?
I would imagine not thick, not in June.
Sheer?
Could be.
How high?
I don't know.
Torn?
With
Were there any
socks on.
tears in the socks? Any holes in them?
I don't know. I don't think so. I can't recall seeing any holes in it.
Now, the socks that were introduced at trial, you were there when they were introduced, right?
I don't recall ever seeing them introduced at trial.
The actual socks that were taken by the police, you do not remember seeing them in
I never
court?
saw them.
Did you examine them?
Never.
You never said, let me see if these are mine?
No.
Okay. Did you examine the gloves to see if they were yours?
Yeah, I looked at the gloves.
Were they yours?
I don't think so.
Not sure?
I think they're too small to be mine.
But you're not sure. They could be yours, correct?
I didn't think so.
They could be, correct?
I don't think so.
Are you positive?
I'm pretty positive.
Pretty, but not 100%, correct?
I'm pretty positive they weren't mine.
But not 100%,
Don't
correct?
answer that. That's argumentative in view
No,
of the
it's
last
not.
4 answers.
Not 100%, correct? Don't tell him what to say, Mr. Leonard.
I'm not telling him what to say. He's
Well,
answered the question.
No, he hasn't, Mr. Leonard, and you know he hasn't.
100% positive.
He can answer that, Mr. Baker. It's
Don't-
obviously,
Don't tell my client what he can answer, please.
but it's a clear question. You are not 100% positive, correct?
After I tried them on, I'm 100% positive they weren't mine.
Before you tried them on, you were not 100% positive, correct?
Correct.
And because you say they're too tight, that's what made you positive, is that right?
They're too small, period.
They didn't fit at all, is that right?
Not close.
Couldn't even get on your hands, right?
Not close.
Did you try them on without, what do you call those? Latex gloves?
No.
It wasn't latex.
What was it, Mr. Baker?
I can't tell you, but it's not latex.
Why can't you tell me?
Because I can't remember. I'd be
Oh.
happy to.
What was it? Do you know what those gloves were?
No.
The kind of gloves that you might, use to clean things or garden with or anything like that?
Not me.
You ever wear those kind of gloves before?
No.
Did you, so your answer is clear, without putting on latex or rubber gloves or plastic gloves beforehand, did you ever try those gloves on that were in court?
No.
Is there any reason why one of the first things you didn't do when you saw those gloves was try them on?
I'm sorry.
Why didn't you try the gloves on immediately when you first saw them to show everybody that they weren't yours?
You mean when he was a criminal
When
defendant?
he first saw them in the courtroom. They're not your
Because the
gloves.
guards
Why-
are around him, he can't get up, he can't move?
Did you ask to try them on?
No.
Okay. Now, what about the watch cap or the hat? You remember that hat, right?
Yeah.
Did you examine that?
Yeah.
Did you try it on?
No.
Was it your hat?
I don't think so, no.
Are you 100% positive?
No.
And why don't you think it's your hat?
Because I saw that they took one from my house and I don't ever recall having more than one.
How do you know they took one from your house?
I saw it in the discovery. I think you showed it to me today.
The picture I showed you?
Yes.
So you believe that you only owned one watch cap like that? Is that what you're
Yes.
saying?
If I own one, yes.
But you hadn't used any watch caps in a long time, right?
Yes.
So you're not 100% sure how many watch caps you owned as of June 12th, correct?
No, that's wrong. I've only recalled buying one my whole life.
Are you 100% sure that you only had one watch cap like the one that was in court in your home on June 12th?
That was mine, yes. If
Or
it
that was
in my home.
anybody's?
Yeah. That was mine, yes.
When you keep saying that was mine, did you have anybody else's watch cap in your
I don't know.
house?
I don't know what Nicole might have put in my house.
Did you wear a watch cap on June 12, 1994 at any time?
No.
Now, why didn't you look at the socks? Excuse me, why didn't you look at the socks?
I don't know. I just never saw him in the courtroom.
Did you ask to look at them?
No.
Excuse me. Mr. Simpson, where do you shop for socks, or where did you?
Everywhere.
Can you name some stores where you shopped for socks in June of 1994?
No.
Excuse me, I'm looking for something. You knew, did you know the schedule of Nicole's housekeeper?
No.
You knew she didn't work Sunday nights, though, right?
I didn't know if she was coming back Sunday nights or not.
She didn't sleep there Sundays, right?
I don't know.
What do you mean you didn't know she was coming back?
Most housekeepers come back Sunday night.
You're saying you didn't know what her schedule was at all?
That's correct.
Do you know, do you know why the ski cap found, excuse me, do you know why the watch cap found at Bundy had hair matching yours?
I think that's mischaracterized. Yes, I know that.
Okay.
Do you know why the watch cap at Bundy had hair consistent with yours?
Some hair is consistent with mine.
Yeah.
No.
Do you have any explanation for that?
Maybe because I'm black.
Is that the only explanation you know of?
Yes.
Just because you're a black person?
Don't answer that. He doesn't
Yeah,
have to
yes.
have any explanation for that.
I didn't say he had to. I'm only asking him if he has any explanation.
His explanations in terms of that evidence will come from his attorneys. As you're
Well,
well
it may not. He may have information that completely exonerates him. Do you have? Do you know why hair consistent with your hair was found on Ron Goldman's shirt?
No.
Do you have any explanation for that?
I'm no expert on similarities of hairs and shirts.
Excuse me?
I'm no expert on similarities of hairs for shirts, so
The answer is you don't know why that is, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know why that the glove found at Rockingham had hair consistent with Ron Goldman's hair?
No.
Do you know why the glove at Rockingham had hair consistent with Nicole's hair?
I'm sorry, the glove?
Do you know why the glove
I'm not sure.
at Rockingham had hair consistent with Nicole's hair?
Well, I'm not sure there's any foundation for that question. And so I'm going to instruct him not to answer it.
You're saying there was no hair matching Nicole's hair found on the Rockingham glove?
I'm saying I'm not aware that that was so, and if it was so, I would have no,
Explanation?
I would have no knowledge of I have no knowledge, I'm no expert on hair, but
Okay. Do you know why the glove found at Rockingham had fibers matching Ron Goldman's shirt?
I mean, I don't have no
Okay.
knowledge of any of this that you're saying.
Do you know why the glove found at Rockingham had fibers matching the carpet in your Bronco?
I have no knowledge of any of this.
I have a few more to go through. Do you know why the glove at Rockingham had blood consistent with a mixture of yours, Ron Goldman's, and Nicole's?
I have no knowledge of this.
Do you know why the blood on the panel of the Bronco matched your blood?
No.
Do you know why the blood on the console of the Bronco matched your blood?
No.
Do you know why the blood on the panel of the Bronco was consistent with a mixture of Ron Goldman's and your blood?
No.
Do you know why the blood on the console of the Bronco is consistent with a mixture of Ron Goldman's and Nicole's blood?
No.
Do you know why the blood in the Bronco matched Nicole's blood?
No.
Do you know why the blood found on the Rockingham driveway matched your blood?
No.
Do you know why the blood in the foyer of your house matched your blood?
No.
Do you know why the blood on the socks found in your bedroom matched your blood?
No.
And do you know why the blood on the socks in your bedroom matched Nicole's blood?
No.
Do you know why the blood at Bundy matched your blood.
No.
Do you know why the shoe prints found at Bundy matched Bruno Magli shoes?
No.
You have no knowledge about any of these things?
Other than what I heard in court, no.
Did you have a rug in your foyer?
I believe so, yes.
Was it there the night that you left?
I would assume so.
What do you mean you would assume so?
I would assume so.
What color was the rug?
It's a Persian rug.
Was it located on the foyer at a spot where blood was found?
I don't believe so.
Was located away from the blood?
I believe so.
Was the rug there when you came home?
I don't recall.
Is the rug missing?
No, it's there.
Okay. Do you have any explanation for how this evidence got where it was found?
Don't answer that. He doesn't have to have an explanation.
You're not going to let him answer that?
No.
Yeah. You understand that I'm not suggesting that he has to have one. I'm just asking if he has one.
All I can tell you is I'm obviously not going to tell you how to ask questions, but I'm not going to let him answer that question.
Apart from anything you learned from your lawyers, do you have an explanation for how any of this evidence got where it was?
And I think you've gone through it all, and he doesn't have any knowledge about that, and he will not be in our expert designation.
Before you ever spoke to a lawyer after you left Los Angeles, did you have any knowledge or information as to how any of that evidence was found where it was?
No.
If, in fact, it was found where they say it was found.
Do you have any facts or information to suggest how that evidence got where it was found?
Other than what I learned in court?
When you say learned in court, you mean what your lawyers argued in court?
Yes.
Yeah, other than what you learned in court.
No.
Have you ever found out what those noises were that Cato Kalin heard?
No.
Did you ever ask him
Ask him what?
what the noises were?
He didn't know
When did you ask him?
when he was looking. He was saying he heard noises. He thought it was an earthquake. And I may have asked him the next day when I got home.
When you got home, when did you first see Kalin?
That afternoon
Where?
at my house.
In the main residence?
Yes.
How did he get there?
I don't know.
Did you invite him in?
He came in.
Uninvited?
I think everybody was invited that day.
No, that's when you had your family there and a couple of your close friends, right?
You know, people were coming and going.
Lots of people?
Yes.
More than 20 or 30?
I would imagine so, but I'm not sure.
And what did you talk to Cato about? You said you talked about the noises. Tell me about that
He may have.
conversation.
I believe I asked him what was going on.
What does that mean?
No one had told me anything. I knew he had, by this time, had spent time with the police, and maybe he knew something.
What did he say?
He didn't know anything.
Nothing?
Nothing.
Did he tell you what the police asked him?
No.
Did you ask him?
No.
Did you ask him what happened during the evening after you left?
I asked him, did he find anything?
What did he say?
I believe he said no. I believe he said he didn't look.
After you left, he's told you
I
that
believe he said he didn't look.
he did not look.
Yes.
Did you and he talk about anything else?
No,
Was that the end of your conversation with Kaylin on the 13th?
I believe so, yes.
Did you talk about the fact that the two of you were together the night before for part of the time?
I don't believe so, but we might have.
When you say you might have, is it, you have a recollection that you discussed having gone to McDonald's together?
No,
You did not discuss that?
I don't have a recollection of us discussing that.
Did you say to Cato, "You're my alibi," right?
I don't believe so.
Was he your alibi?
I didn't know I needed an alibi.
Did you say that to him?
I don't believe so.
Did you discuss anything concerning your alibi or with Cato Kalin?
I didn't believe I needed an alibi.
And wait a minute.
Did you say to Cato, "You were with me, right, Cato?"
I don't think so. He was obviously with me when we went to get a burger, but I don't believe that we discussed that.
Did you say to Kalin, "You saw me go in the house, didn't you?" or words to that effect?
I don't recall saying that, no.
Did you hear him testify to that?
No.
Was Kalin's testimony truthful
Well, you don't answer that.
with what you heard? And you were in a position to gauge, was it truthful?
He is not going to testify in this trial whether he's truthful or untruthful. He's going to testify what he observed and what he witnessed and what he said.
What Kalin said about you, was that truthful?
Don't answer that. He is not going to be interrogated about what he thinks somebody else is truthful or untruthful.
Did Cato say anything about you that to your knowledge was false?
Again, the same objection.
I'm
same
not
effect.
asking for his assessment of his credibility. I'm asking for particular information.
Really? It seems like exactly the same thing to me.
Well, it's a different question. Did Cato Kalin say anything on the stand, Mr. Simpson, that you knew to be false?
Now, he testified for days on the stand, and that is too broad. You can ask him questions, I suppose, about what Mr. Kalin said, and if he believes it's true or false, based upon his own empirical knowledge. I'll obviously allow that, but I'm not going to allow you a broad blanket anything in however many days he was on the stand.
Well, you're not going to let him answer that
No.
question? Okay. Do you remember anything that Kalin said that right now stands out in your mind as false?
It's okay. If you have any recollection of what he testified to in all those days.
I don't really have a clear recollection of all the things that he testified to and anything really specific. So I can't speak on anything just really specific, no.
Oops. On the day of the 13th, when Kalin is at your house, did you and he go off into your kitchen?
We may have.
Okay. And what did you and he discuss in your kitchen?
I don't think we walked into if we walked into the kitchen, it wasn't to discuss anything specific, I don't think.
But when you did get into the kitchen, what did you and he discuss?
I don't recall.
You have no recollection?
No.
Okay. When Kalin came into your house, were you glued to the TV set?
I don't
What are we
understand what that
talking
means.
about?
On the 13th, Mr. Baker.
I don't know what that means.
In other words, were you watching television, 3 televisions?
I was sitting with my mom and a bunch of people. The TVs were on. I don't know if I was dozing or watching at that time.
And what you were watching was coverage about your wife's murder, right?
We were trying to find information when we were looking at TV, yes.
Okay. And at some point, you asked Kalin to go into the kitchen for a minute, right?
I don't recall that, no.
But the two of you went into the kitchen area, correct?
We may have.
The two of you were alone, correct?
I don't recall that, no.
And he hopped up on the sink, correct?
I don't recall that, no.
And you leaned against the sink, right?
I don't recall that, no.
And then you said to him, you saw me go in the house, didn't you?
I don't recall that.
We went to McDonald's and then you saw me go into the house, right?
I don't recall that.
Do you deny those conversations?
I don't believe I had those conversations. I just don't recall having them.
Are you positive that that conversation did not occur?
I don't recall talking to him in the kitchen about that, no.
But you're not sure.
I don't recall doing it, no.
Are you sure?
I'm sure I don't recall doing it.
If Kalen says it happened, you wouldn't have any reason to doubt him, correct?
I don't know,
Why not?
because I don't recall doing it.
The day withdrawn, on June 11, you spent some time watching television with Cato, didn't you?
I don't know. He may have came in while I was watching TV.
And you were watching The World According to Garp, right?
I may have.
With Robin Williams, right?
I may have.
Dan?
Okay, why don't you change it?
How about
We'll
we
break it.
stop at
4:30. Excuse me?
Why don't we stop it?
Stop what?
The depot.
depot for the day?
Oh, I was going to ask a couple more questions about Garp.
Safe, Garp.
Okay,
And then I've got,
I'll save Garp.
I can't hold down a couple of floors.
I'm going to leave you in suspense about the Garp questions, okay?
Is that okay, Dan? Or you-
No, it's okay with me. Half an hour.
Will you, Michael, I know you don't agree with what we said.
Oh, yeah, close to that.
Sorry.
Well, let's get it, yeah. Let's do it.
This concludes the deposition of Lawrence L. James Simpson, Volume 5.